Hey family, MarshaunO here, your favorite life and relationship strategist, and I'm here to talk to you about the 7 keys to a successful marriage. Yes, the 7 keys to a successful marriage. And I wanted to come to you and talk to you guys about this because sometimes I have conversations with people and maybe even clients, and they don't understand the things that they need to be doing in order to have a healthy marriage or even a healthy long-term relationship. And so because I learned the hard way and knocked my head the hard way, I created this channel here so you do not have to knock your head the hard way and go through years and years of dating trying to figure this thing out. I really literally have cut the learning curve for you if you have come here and taken the opportunity to take some of the nuggets that I be dropping here and apply them in your relationships. Or if you're not in a relationship, to actually take in the nuggets, take in the information, take in my own stories and stories of people that I share with you, so you do not have to experience the same things that I did or someone that I know, which is cutting the learning curve in half if you actually apply the things that you learn here on MarshaunO. Now, with that being said, the 7 keys to a successful marriage, these are the things that I hear often from couples and then just reading material, and it's the same stuff that's talked about over and over. So I compiled a list and put it together, and I'm bringing it here to you today. And so I'm going to talk from in order, but I'm gonna do it backwards. So I'm gonna go from 7 to 1, and this is the least important, quote unquote, but it's still the top because 7 really is not a lot anyway. So from the least important of these 7 to the most important of these 7. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Number 7 is to remain independent while you're in your relationship. Now, does that mean go out and create another relationship on your own? Absolutely not. What that does mean is that for you to stand up and be who you are, for you to remain an individual while you're actually in the relationship, for you to continue with the hobbies that you like to do, for you to continue to hang out with your family and friends and actually still building relationships outside of your own. So which we're not hoping for that, but if something goes down and your marriage doesn't work out, or if you're in a long-term relationship and that does not work out, where you're not feeling like, oh my God, who am I? What am I now supposed to do? How am I supposed to pick the pieces? Because I hear that often. When I'm coaching clients, they're like, what am I actually supposed to do? And even asking the question, who am I? Because maybe your title has been wife for years, or maybe your title has been mom for years, and you do not understand and even know who you are any longer. So remain independent while you're in your marriage. Remain independent while you're in your long-term relationship. So that's number 7, independence for sure. Number 6 is to take responsibility for the things that you do. Take responsibility for the things that you say. Take responsibility for how you react. Take responsibility for how you just show up completely while you're in this marriage with your spouse, the person that you decided to take this life's journey with. Who are you? Are you constantly blaming your spouse for how you're showing up? Are you constantly blaming somebody else? It's never your fault. It's always somebody else's fault why you decided to say the things that you said or respond the way that you said. No. Nobody can piss you off unless you allow them to. Nobody can make you feel bad unless you allow them to. And if you are taking any of that on, it's because you believe something about what they just said to you. It's not 100% where it's coming from them and they're the ones that's making you feel bad. It's actually something that you believe about what they're saying. And so because now they're bringing it to the forefront of your brain, now you feel a little bit pissed off. Take responsibility for who you are, how you're showing up, and don't put the blame on somebody else and make them feel bad or make them feel like you're responding, you're reacting, in this case to your spouse, a certain type of way because of something that they said, something that he or she did to you. No, you're doing that because that's what you want to do. But instead of you taking responsibility or even not reacting at all, not saying anything, shutting up and actually letting the things flow through your brain as far as what you want to say and how you want to react in a mature manner. No, you just flying off the handle because that's what you think that you should be doing, or that could have been some behavior that you've seen your parent or guardian doing, and so you think that's the way to react, that's the way to actually communicate with your spouse, when it's actually not. And at some point just as a bonus, just so you know, at some point, because you are an adult, if you are older than the age of 18, and you mainly are if you're watching my channel, if you're over 18, it is now time to start taking responsibility for who you are and everything that you do. You cannot blame it on your parents. You cannot blame it on your spouse. You cannot blame it. Take responsibility. That's where all of this is going throughout your entire life, and specifically in your relationship with your spouse. Take responsibility. The fifth thing that I want you to do is to eradicate the fantasy that you have about relationships. The expectations of what your spouse should be doing, how he should be treating you, how she should be treating you, how she should be respecting you. Yes, those are things that people should know, but unfortunately, because there are so many arguments, because there are so many fights, because there is so many domestic abuse and even murders that happen in the relationships, this is because people don't know how to get their frustrations out and actually express themselves in a healthy manner. That's why a lot of this stuff occurs. And the not taking responsibility, you blame it on your parents, you blame it on somebody else about why you are showing up and acting and reacting the way that you are showing up and acting the way. Nope. So eradicate what the fantasy is, and do not compare yourself and your relationship to somebody else, because you will always be on the losing end of that stick. Always. Eradicate the fantasy and build and create the relationship that you want. Whatever and however that looks to you is perfect for you and perfect for your spouse, especially if you guys agree to do this thing together, whatever it may be. Don't worry about what your parents' relationship look like. Don't worry about what your friends' relationship look like. Worry about what you and your spouse's relationship look like, and how you guys are showing up and respecting one another and talking about different things and learning about each other, because so many couples are not doing that. So get rid of and eradicate that fantasy that you have about how he should be doing and what he should be doing, and I'm the man of the house, or I'm the woman of the house, I'm supposed to be rearing the children and still going to work, and he's supposed to sit there like a king. That works for some relationships, but it doesn't work for everybody. So it's not a cookie cutter relationship lesson strategy. No, it's what you want for your own relationship. Number 4, love each other in the manner that he or she needs it, i.e. the love languages. Do you know what your love language is? Do you know what your spouse's love language is? Can you actually rattle off what the top 3 are? And I always talk about the top 3 because research has actually shown that if you are showing your spouse the top 3 ways of their love language, then you guys will have a very, very, very good and positive relationship, despite everything else, because there are going to be trials that are going to come. There's going to be a whole bunch of life stuff that gets in the way. But if you show up and love your spouse in the way that he or she needs it, not the way that you want to give it to him, the way that he or she needs it, then your relationship will be fun. You guys will have a high quality relationship. And anytime somebody actually polls you on your relationship, you'll say, oh, my relationship is good, my relationship is great. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? So if you do not know your top 3 love languages, you need to find it out. If you do not know your spouse's top 3 love languages, then you need to find that out, and so you can start to show him or her love the way he or she needs it. Okay? Number three, I hear this one all the time when I'm talking to clients, especially with older couples. I love to see older couples holding hands and walking down the street and just having conversations and still being very touchy-feely is what I like to call it, showing the intimate moments, whether they're in public or sometimes, behind closed doors, but maybe family members are over and they're still being the fun couple in front of everybody. So what I hear from them is that they have continued to date. And now I'm gonna bring in number 2, because number 2 and number 3 kind of go hand in hand, which is the laughter portion. So number 3 was dating. Number 2 is laughter. How many times have you gotten to a relationship and you're like, this dude or this chick is super serious. They are a stick in the mud. They never like to go anywhere. They don't laugh. Everything's so serious. Life sucks. It's just like, who wants to be in a relationship like that? So if you can date more and experience all of these new things together, or even take yourself out on a date because maybe your spouse does not want to go with you, or go out with your friend and do some of the things that you still want to do, which is the hobbies that I was talking about earlier, keep up with all of that stuff. So again, you remain independent while you're still in a relationship. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you remain and do the things that you still like to do for yourself, and you come back and talk about it with your spouse, you look so sexy, explaining and basically regurgitating and reliving that life experience. So laugh more, date more, have a great relationship. The top number one tip, I'm sure you guys have heard this before, is communication. Communication. That means having the good talks. That means having the fun talks where you're laughing all the time. That means sharing the great memories. But it also means having the bad talks, having the difficult conversations, talking about the things that pissed you off, or that your spouse did not do, or they did not understand, they did not honor you in some type of way, they didn't respect you in some type of way. These are the things that you still need to talk about in order to rectify those things. And so instead of it being bumpy, once you start to talk about those things, guess what? The bumps kind of go down, and all of a sudden you're on an even keel. Because you're nurturing your relationship, you're nurturing your spouse, you're learning how to love your spouse. Your spouse is learning how to love you. And guess what? Both of you are creating the most beautiful relationship that you can ever create, which is that one that you're creating together. And it's not one-sided, and you both feel heard, you both feel loved, you both feel understood, you both feel respected. That is the type of relationship that you want. And if you want that type of relationship, then you need to start doing these 7 things in order to have a successful marriage. Let me know which one you plan on starting to do on a consistent basis, because it's all about consistency. It's all about showing up the way that you know that you need to show up, and then actually taking action and doing just that. I'll see you guys very, very soon.